Guys, for the first bonus presentation, I'd like to introduce a guy who is a really, really close friend of mine, as well as being a guy whose game is phenomenal. I remember the first time I met him, I thought he was a junior at the time, or he was becoming a junior instructor at Love Systems, and I thought he was a very, very nice guy. In fact, I thought he was too nice. I thought, how is this guy can't have, this guy who's known for this, being very physical with women and, escalating very quickly. I thought, I'm gonna take a look at this guy's, how he's gonna do this. And so I watched him approach these two girls, and I turned around for a sec because one of the other guys was talking to me, and literally 30 seconds later, I looked back and he was making out with this girl. And I was like, wow, that's impressive. So anyway, like I said, he's a really good friend of mine. He's been with me in the craziest of times, the best of times. And anyway, give a hand for Keychain. All right, bonus disc. Stand up, everyone stand up. This is the bonus disc. We can take our clothes off, cover ourselves with jam. Stand up. I'm serious, stand up, stand up. Okay, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. I want everyone to put your hands up like this, like a zombie, and turn this way. And give the person in front of you a massage. Okay. I need to wake you up. This is part one of, if you could always move. Yeah. This is part one of fast physical escalation. Okay, we're gonna break the touch barrier early, so we can make out later. Okay. All right, and now I wish you all turn the other way and reciprocate. All right, stop, a little lower. So, all right, everyone relax now and happy? Good. I'm going to talk about fast escalation. And I want to start with a quote from Jack Nicklaus, who was, hugely successful golfer, kind of the Tiger Woods before Tiger Woods was Tiger Woods. Yeah. And he says, every putt is different. Your feet dictate the stroke by how they feel on the green. I just never use the same stroke on every putt. Every interaction is different. Every story of meet to sex has its own timeline, its own pace. Let's talk about some of those. You hear about these fast-paced closes. You hear about this sort of thing where you maybe meet a girl and you take her home the night you meet her. Or you get up to some sort of adventures in the venue you're in with the girl. Some people call that SNL game, same night lay game. That's what some people call that, because you take them home the night you meet them. And there's medium game. Some people call this solid game. Who's heard that term? Solid game. Some of you, old school guys maybe. That's when maybe you meet a girl in a club or a bar or doctor's waiting room perhaps or something like that, and you get her number, and then you go on a date with her, and it's at that time or maybe one of the subsequent dates that you eventually end up sleeping together. So people call that solid game, medium pace. And then there's slow burn game, where you maybe have a girl in your social circle for some months, maybe even a year, before you get round to it. And you have other girls on the go, she's on the back burner, she's always in the back of your mind. People call that stalking. And it's a very expensive kind of, and an efficient kind of game. It requires a lot of high-tech equipment. Night vision goggles, a logbook, camouflage netting. I hope to do a seminar on that soon, but I think it's a winner. Yeah. Now, here's a bit of an interesting question for you. Which do you think takes the most skill? Fast? Hands up if you think it's fast. Which takes the most skill in game? Who thinks it's medium? Hands up if you think it's medium. Or slow or solid game. Who thinks it's slow burn game? Right. So some of you are too weak to raise your hands. I can see.
All right, fine. Well, it's kind of a trick question. The answer, I think, is it depends. Every interaction is different, so depending on the interaction, different speeds will be more or less appropriate at that time. Does that make sense? Okay. But for this talk, I'm going to focus on when things move quickly. Here are some prerequisites to escalating quickly, so you need to write these down. First, you have to be open to the idea that fast escalation is possible. You have to be open to the idea that it's even possible. You need to be able to recognize when a woman is open to fast escalation, or an ability to read her compliance levels. I'll talk about that later. You need to be able to recognize when the opportunity is there. Third one, you need to have the skill and confidence, people could say outer and inner game, necessary to actually escalate quickly. And you need the right logistics to lead the woman to a seduction location, as we say. Give an example of bad logistics. What I mean by having good logistics is if everything is going well with a girl, you're really liking each other, but there's something logistically that prevents you from going somewhere where you can, be together. It's going to screw things up. I'll give you an example. I was in Melbourne, Australia, and I was there with 5.0 and some others, and we were in a bar. And 5.0 was talking to some girl, so I was sort of at a loose end, so I ended up talking to this girl next to me. We start chatting, it's going very well, she's interesting, funny in these things. And then she turns to me and said, I can't continue talking to you right now. And I said, well, why? And she said, my mother is in the room. My mother is in the room. And I said, all right, well, let's go outside. So I said, let's get out of here. And we, arm in arm, we walked out the door together. As we're exiting this club, we walk onto the main road, and from the shadows, from the shadows, comes this woman. She goes, "Hello, Cara. Hello, Cara." It's the mother. She arrived. She'd sprung from nowhere. And here's the story. This woman was 26 years old, and she'd recently been divorced by 2 to 3 weeks. I find this out in the ensuing catfight, by the way. And her mother was literally stalking her through the bars of Melbourne, preventing her from meeting people, because she didn't like the fact that there was a divorce, or something like that. So at this, they start arguing in the street. At this point, I should have cut my losses and run. The bar was still open. There were still good times ahead. I still had some Australian dollars in my pocket. But no, I was mesmerized, I'll be honest, mesmerized by the scene before me. And they fought. I'd never seen anything like it. They'd fight, and then she'd grab me and escalate me and lead me down the road towards my hotel. And then they'd fight, and then we'd go further, and they'd fight, and we'd go further, and they'd fight, and we'd go further. But this time I really needed to piss. Because I've been in that bar a while, and it's about 40 minutes later. And I was getting impatient. So I just grabbed him and said, "Come on, we're getting out of here." So we start walking towards my hotel. We get to my hotel, and it has automatic doors. So the mother just follows me right in. We walk to the sort of first key card door, and I open it, and I try and pull it closed behind me, but she's quick. She knows what I'm up to. She puts her foot in there. And I was like, fuck, So we're just walking up the stairs with this mother trailing behind, and I round the corner, and there's 5.0 stood outside the door with his girl. And I have my girl, and so far that's a nice scene, and then the mother arrives, right? It gets worse. It gets worse. They start fighting again, and 5.0, and I actually met his girl earlier in the night with him, and we were just the three of us stood there, amazed by the scene in front of us. And Sheriff was unconscious, he was asleep, another instructor in the room, so that's why we couldn't go in there. So essentially, logistics was screwed on every front. We all wanted to use the room, it was already being used, and there was a mother involved. So that's bad logistics. So if you have something like that, it doesn't matter how good your game is, or how excited about you the girl is, it's not happening. Okay? Right.